Hey guys, welcome back to the Rebel Show. I am Bree Mesquit, and today we are talking all about ingrowns. I am asked about ingrowns all the time, so I figured, hey, it's time to do an episode on this. So you're definitely going to want to pull out pen and paper and take some notes. If you're driving, just go ahead and rewatch this when you have time to sit down and take some notes. So let's get right into it. This is going to be a jam-packed episode, and I'm really excited to share this information with you guys.
What's your plan for tomorrow? Are you a leader or will you follow? Are you a fighter or will you cower? It's our time, take back the power. What's your plan?
All right, so first, let's cover what the heck is an ingrown. So an ingrown is when the hair grows back into the skin rather than like rising and growing up out of the skin. So I'm sure you guys have experienced or seen an ingrown before. And there's different types of ingrowns. So what are the different types? We have surface ingrowns, we have deep ingrowns, and then we also have ingrowns that can become inflamed or even infected, and worst case, cystic. So if they become cystic, that is something we will not be working with ourselves as licensed estheticians. We will go ahead and refer them to a dermatologist. But surface ingrowns and deep ingrowns are going to be the most common that we will be seeing and treating. So first of all, let's talk about what causes ingrown. So improper technique when you're waxing can cause ingrowns. If you're not applying with enough pressure, and you end up breaking the hairs if you're applying the strip in the wrong direction. So remember, when we're using hard wax, we want to be applying in the direction of the hair growth and removing against. So that could be a cause for ingrowns. Dead skin blocking the follicle so that the hair can't grow through and it instead gets trapped and starts to grow back within the skin. That could be another cause for it. Curly or coarse hair, someone who has curly or coarse hair, unfortunately can be a little bit more prone to ingrowns because the hair is growing in a curly queue and can get stuck under the skin rather than someone with straight hair where it's just growing in an upwards motion or direction, I should say. Another thing that could be a cause of ingrowns is tight clothing. So it's really important that we're instructing our clients to wear something loose and breathable. I really like cotton, just something loose. A skirt could be a great option with cotton underwear when we're doing bikini waxing, but anywhere. If you're waxing legs, you don't want them wearing leggings to leave, nothing tight to the body. Then also not exfoliating regularly. So we want our clients to be exfoliating prior to their appointment and then regularly in between appointments as well. Having too short of hair, waxing hair that's just too short, that can create ingrowns as well. So we want to make sure that we're following the rule of the hair being 1/4 of an inch long, which is about the size of a grain of rice, or at minimum 2 weeks since shaving. If they've been waxing regularly, then we want to have them on a schedule of every 4 to 6 weeks. So that can be another cause, is waxing too often. So when the hair is too short or your cycles are not synced up and you're pulling hairs that are way too short at the same time as removing maybe stage 3. So waxing too often can also cause ingrowns as well. Improper aftercare, that's going to be one of the most common culprits to causing ingrowns. And then also rapid growth, which usually is due to the hair being broken rather than removed from the root. So that will fall back under improper technique. All right, how are we going to avoid ingrown? So it's really important that we're educating our clients on this. So I'm asked all the time by you guys, what the heck should I be posting on social media? I don't know how to market. We keep in mind, now this is a little side tangent, but anything that we post needs to be educational. It needs to inspire or it needs to entertain. So one of the things you could be posting about is ingrowns and before care, after care, how to prep for your service. And it's okay to be saying these things on repeat because you have to remember your followers, your audience, your clients are not seeing every single piece of content that you're putting out. So talking about ingrowns, talking about aftercare, talking about how to prep for your appointment is something that you should be regularly posting and talking about. So how to avoid. We want to make sure that we're exfoliating and moisturizing or instructing our clients to exfoliate and moisturize often. So how often should they be exfoliating? They should be exfoliating 2 to 3 times a week at minimum, and then adjusting that based on their skin type, hair type, etc. But that's the general rule of thumb, is going to be 2 to 3 times a week. They want to exfoliate right up to their service, their appointment, their scheduled service. So they can literally exfoliate the same day as their waxing appointment. But after their wax, you want to instruct them to wait 24, I even prefer 48 hours, because the waxing itself is a form of exfoliation and we don't want to over exfoliate. You definitely can also over exfoliate. But to avoid, we're going to instruct them to exfoliate 2 to 3 times a week leading up to their appointment, and then also make sure to be moisturizing. Now you want to be moisturizing with something that's film free, something that's not going to leave a residue on top of the skin, because that can also lead to ingrown hairs as well, because it's blocking the hair from being able to puncture through that surface of product buildup. After a wax too, no sweating. So a saying I really like, and you guys have probably heard it before, is no petting, no sweating. So after a wax, 24 hours, no friction, you know what I'm talking about? And then both from working out and other activities, and no sweating. So no saunas, no steam rooms, no jacuzzis, nothing that's going to cause like friction like that or cause you to perspire for 24 hours. Okay, no tight clothing. Again, this is how we're going to avoid this, is after the appointment for at least 24 hours, not to wear super tight clothing. Or even if this is an issue that they are ongoing struggling with, then they might want to avoid tight clothing in general until the hair fully grows back. Because as the hair is trying to grow back, if you're wearing really tight clothing, it can actually block it from being able to properly break through that top surface of skin, and it will start curling into itself. Cold water also after an appointment. So I actually just did a demo for you guys today. We filmed, and my model, I could tell his skin was a little bit irritated, but he also is going on a motorcycle ride later, and he's going to be sweating because it's really warm here in Central Oregon right now. And I normally would advise against that, but when it's unavoidable, then what I recommend for my clients to do is go home and take a really, really cold shower. The cold water is going to help contract the pores and will help prevent a little bit more against ingrowns or breakouts or any irritation. I did instruct him as soon as he's done with his bike ride and to go ahead and shower again and get all that perspiration off, and then go shirtless or really loose cotton t-shirt. So cold water can be great as well. And you can use this method for full body no matter where it is that you're waxing, especially bikini area for women during the summertime when they get a bikini wax and then they're going to be going maybe to the beach or be laying out in the sun, which again isn't advised, but we can give our recommendations all we want. Now, is the client going to actually follow it? It's a different story. So we also want to give them tactical things to do if it is unavoidable, to still try to help minimize the chances of getting ingrowns or bumps, breakouts, and irritation. Hey there, I hope you're enjoying this episode so far. For those of you who are already using and loving Rebel Wax in your treatment room, I wanted to provide you with the opportunity to save an additional 10% on top of the 10% we already give for our subscribe and save customers. If you would like to never worry about inventory issues again, then head to our website, lashandwaxoc.com. Use the code THEREBELSHOW, all one word, to save an additional 10% off for a total of 20% off your first subscribe and save. Now back to the show. All right, some upsells that you can also do that can really help prevent against ingrowns is going to be a vajacial. So this is going to be a whole additional service. Now you can either pair the vajacial with the wax itself. If you do that, you're going to change up your protocol a little bit. I can do another episode on this if you guys are interested. Let me know in the comments. But in just a quick overview, if you are pairing a vajacial with the waxing service, you're going to opt out of using steam. And you're going to opt out of manual exfoliation because the waxing service itself is the exfoliation. Or you can have your client come back in 2 weeks. So in between wax services, smack in the middle in between the wax service. And then you can do a full vajacial, including steam and including manual exfoliation as well. So that's an upsell that you can do. You can also upsell just a mask on its own, whether it's a mud mask. I prefer I believe it's called My Name is Mud by Relax and Wax. I do have a code linked in the description below if you guys want to check that out. But I love this mask. It's a mud mask. It's a clay, and it actually has a drawing agent in it that helps to bring the ingrowns up to the surface. Now, it's not going to magically bring those really deep or cystic ingrowns up to the surface, but it definitely does help to soften skin. It draws them towards the surface. And with weekly consistent use, this can really help with those deep ingrowns to slowly bring them closer to the surface. And then when they come in to see you, you're either going to wax it away or you can remove it with some tweezers as well. So a mask, or you can also do hydrogelly mask on its own. And I personally have used SD Max in the past. I love their intensive aftercare. It's really calm and soothing, brings down any redness. So that's my preferred mask to use when I am doing a vajacial, because I actually do a double mask during a vajacial, but you can also use this mask on its own or any of the other masks in their line as well. Some of the other popular ones are going to be like the Egyptian rose, and there's also a brightening mask as well, but you can choose whichever one you feel is best for yourself and your clients. Another upsell is going to be high frequency. You can add on high frequency after a wax as well. This is also something really great to use for those who have issues with histamine reactions. So histamine reactions is another topic I definitely can cover. So let me know if you guys have any questions about histamine reactions, and I am happy to do an episode on that as well. Cold compresses or ice rollers. This is something that can really help reduce the inflammation, help close up those pores, and help prevent against ingrowns as well. And again, these are all upsells. So you guys are going to be able to increase your ticket price and then increase your revenue. And you're going to have nice, happy clients because their skin's going to be feeling wonderful. So cold compress or ice roller is the last thing that I would consider maybe as an upsell paired with a wax, especially bikini waxing. All right, what retail should you guys have to help prevent against ingrowns? So at minimum, you guys will want to have scrub gloves and an ingrown hair serum. So if you're just getting started and funds are a little tight and you don't have a lot of extra to spend on a full retail line right now, totally fine. Go ahead and just get a ingrown hair serum. I love Relax and Wax. It's called Get the Bump Out of Here. I also love Just the Strip. They are fantastic, and they have a couple different options for you. And then fur oil as well. Now, fur oil is going to be one of your more expensive options, and it is now available in like your Ultas, Sephora's. So sometimes estheticians tend to steer clear of items that clients can go get elsewhere. So Relax and Wax and Just the Strip is for professional use only. So you guys can go ahead and check them out. I do have some codes for you in the description below. All right, so at minimum, you're going to want scrub gloves and an ingrown hair serum. Scrub gloves, you can buy in bulk on Amazon. And then this isn't necessarily to increase your revenue. It's just to provide a better overall experience for your clients so that they're getting the best possible outcome. All right. Next, you can have a moisturizer on hand as well. I really like the moisturizer by Relax and Wax, and it's part of their vajacial line, which is called Peachy Clean. Or you can also do fur oil. It can act as a moisturizer as well, or any of Just the Strip oils as well. That's going to be a really nice moisturizer. And at the same time, it helps combat ingrowns as well. That could be something else that you retail. Another one, and my personal favorite, are the ingrown pads. So Just the Strip has them, and they are absolutely incredible. It's almost like a chemical peel. So you have to instruct your clients only 2 to 3 times a week max. I call these my magic eraser. They are so great. Men can use them on their neck too if they have any razor burn or you shouldn't be waxing that area. So yes, if they have any razor burn or anything like that from shaving, then they can use these pads as well. They are excellent and my go-to and my personal favorite. They can be a little bit more on the pricey side, but they just work so well, and you're only using it 2 to 3 times a week. So in my opinion, they are very, very worth it. You can also sell masks to your clients to use at home too. If I were to be retailing a mask, it would be the mud mask. That is where they're going to get the best results because of that drawing agent. So if they're using it 1 to 2 times a week at home and they're doing that in between their wax appointments, it's really going to help bring those ingrowns up to the surface. And then you guys will wax them out, or maybe you'll have a better shot at getting them out with some tweezers. Okay, so now, if we do have the issue of ingrowns and our client is struggling with ingrowns, how the heck do we treat it? And how do we got to find the root cause for root. See what I did there? Pun intended. It was so funny. All right. So we have to put our detective cap on and ask a lot of questions. So first question I always ask is, what body wash are you using? 90% of the time they say Dove body wash or bar soap. We cannot be using that when we are waxing. So even though a body wash may be deemed like good and natural or healthy for your skin, doesn't mean it's always a great fit when you're waxing. So Dove is one of those, bar soap's one of those, because it's leaving a filmy residue on top of the skin. So when the hair is going to grow back, it gets stuck under that layer of product and it starts growing underneath the surface of the skin. This is when you see surface ingrowns, and a lot of them, especially on legs, usually it's due to their body wash. You'll see surface ingrowns on the bikini area as well. So that's the first question I always ask. The body wash that I personally recommend, use, and love and have been using for years is called Nutribiotic. And this is usually available at most like health food stores. So back in Southern California, we had a Mother's Market. I believe Whole Foods should have it. Here we have a Natural Grocers that I found it at, or you can find it on Amazon as well. So I'll make sure that that's linked below. I personally get the big gallon jug of it. It's about $50, but my whole family is using it and it lasts me a really long time. I'm only buying that maybe every 6 to 8 months. So well worth it. And they also have smaller sizes that you can retail for your clients as well, or just give this to them as a recommendation. Really cost effective, and it actually helps treat the ingrowns as well because it has grape seed extract in it and it does not leave a filmy residue on top of the skin at all. So the main reason that we don't want to use any body wash that leaves that filmy residue is because when you start waxing, now you're removing the hair from the root. So when it's growing back, it's really thin and soft. So it doesn't have that blunt edge or that sharp edge anymore like you get when you're shaving. So you might be like, well, I've never had an issue with this and I've used this body wash for years. Well, if you've been shaving, first of all, you're not removing from the root, you're removing from the surface, and you're creating that sharp, blunt edge so it's able to puncture through that film. Now, when you're waxing, the whole point of waxing is we do want to thin and soften the hair, but now we have to be a little bit more careful with what we're putting on our skin so we're not trapping it because it's going to have a hard time puncturing through. All right. Also, we'll want to instruct our clients to be exfoliating regularly. So you can do this through chemical exfoliation or manual exfoliation. So manual exfoliation is going to be like your scrubs or your scrub gloves. That's going to be manual exfoliation. Chemical exfoliation is going to be like your ingrown hair serums or maybe the ingrown serum pads, things like that. That's going to be more of like a chemical exfoliation. So you want them to be using an ingrown hair serum at least twice a day if we are actively treating ingrowns. If we're just being preventative, and preventative is always key. So this is why every single one of my new clients, I'm always making sure that they're leaving with a pair of scrub gloves and an ingrown hair serum so that we are preventing this issue. Ingrowns don't always start right after your first wax. Sometimes you don't start to have an issue until wax 3, 4, or 5, because that's when you're really starting to thin and soften the hair pretty drastically. So then you can start to have the issues of ingrown. So we really want to work on being preventative. But ingrown hair serum twice a day if we're actively treating ingrowns. So morning and night. Now, the biggest struggle that we can run into is that clients go ahead and purchase this, but then they don't use it. It gets stored in their medicine cabinet. So what I like to do is, first of all, acknowledge that to them. Hey, I have many clients that will purchase this. And then as women, we have so many products, we put them away and we forget about them and they're not being used. You won't see results from a product you're not using. So what I want you to do is go ahead and put this next to your toothbrush. And every time you brush your teeth, use that as a trigger to remind you to go ahead and apply your Ingrown hair serum. So that's worked really well for me in the past and has helped me to help my clients create the habit of actually using the Ingrown hair serum. Now, if we're not actively treating ingrowns and we're just being preventative, then once a day, morning or night, they can choose will be totally fine and help with preventing. All right, then the ingrown pads that I mentioned as well. So you would not use a serum and the pads at the same time. You still can use scrub gloves in the shower. And so how you use scrub gloves is in the shower. You get them wet. You put your body wash straight on the scrub gloves. You'll go ahead and lather that up and then wash your body as normal with the gloves on, and you'll use circular motions. So you can use the scrub gloves at the same time as using the ingrown pads. It's just you're not going to be using the pads daily. That's going to be a 2 to 3 times a week thing. They need to be moisturizing as well. Again, using a film-free moisturizer. Personally, in my house, we use Hemp's, and I've never had any issues with it, and I really enjoy that lotion. Loose clothing is going to be important too. Again, and I know a lot of this is repetitive, but repetition is key. We want this to become just second nature to you guys. So you're feeling confident in what to advise your clients to do. Again, we want to be super preventative and not have to get to the point of trying to backtrack and treat. So education is key in that, understanding how all this works, and then being able to reiterate that to your client and explain it to them so they know what to expect. All right, so loose clothing. That can be really helpful, especially within that 24 hours. But if they're struggling with ingrowns, then this might be a thing that they just need to do all the way up until the hair has fully grown back. At that point, it doesn't really matter. They can wear a little bit tighter clothing. All right, cotton underwear is great too because it's breathable. I know I've gone over that. And then this is a big one. And the last one I'm going to leave you guys with, people don't ever think about this. Shampoo and conditioner. When our clients are washing their hair, we want to instruct them not to allow, when they go to rinse, not to allow that shampoo and conditioner to run down their body, especially over the areas that are being waxed, because it is going to leave a filmy residue on top of the skin. So what I personally do and what I advise my clients to do is go ahead and flip your head forward and rinse with your head like upside down so the shampoo is not running on your body at all. And then the same goes for conditioner as well. So those are the most common ways that ingrowns happen, how to avoid them, how to treat them. I hope this was helpful for you guys. If there's anything I missed, go ahead and ask me in the comment section below. I'll make sure to go into further detail. If you guys have any additional questions, let me know. And lastly, please make sure to subscribe. 98% of you that are watching my podcast on a weekly basis are not subscribed. So I'd love if you could subscribe. Also, I'd be so grateful if you guys could leave a review on my podcast, whether it's on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, anywhere it is that you're listening. I would love for you to leave a review. Turn on those notifications, and then I will see you guys back next week.